What you're about to see is a new episode of Down to Earth with JP, a video series where my friend Jonathan Payne gives his episode review of The Chosen, which is the first ever multi-season show covering the life of Jesus Christ. If you want more content related to The Chosen, we have an entire playlist on this YouTube channel that includes other things like episode reviews, entire in-depth, multiple hour-long episode breakdowns, and we have those for every single episode of the show, prediction videos, different other analysis things, stuff like that. If you want that, we've got that playlist on here. Be sure to go check that out. That being said, this is not my video, this is Jonathan's, so I'm going to hand it over to him, but before I do so, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on that notification bell, and, of course, comment below and let us know what you thought about the episode at hand. Jonathan, I'm handing it over to you.
Hello, everybody. I'm finally back for the final episode of Season 1 of The Chosen. This is Episode 8 of Down to Earth with JP. And this episode is kind of wrapping up and concluding the stories of Season 1 and the characters and where they're going to go in the future. And ends with the great story of the woman at the well. And Jesus is going to stir up the waters and cause some trouble. Alright guys, really glad to be back. I know it's been a little while since my last episode, but I'm here, I'm going to do it. I have a brand new Chosen merch shirt based on the quote from episode 2 that Mary says. It's a really cool shirt, you know, it's in the shape of the cross, has the quote. There's a lot of cool merch. If you don't like this shirt, they have some other cool stuff, go check it out. But anyways, this is one of the shirts I thought was really cool, and I wanted to have one. Because when we do our reviews together, when I do with David, we usually try and wear Chosen shirts. So now I have my own to wear, which you may have spotted. I've done a couple videos with them since I got it. So I try and wear it as much as I can. They're super comfortable, and you know I like repping the show because it's good. So anyways, I'll stop being a salesman for the show, but go buy their stuff because it's worth it. It's a good cause. It's a good show. They make good content. So this episode starts with Jacob's well, which ties into the end of the episode. I really like openings like this because I like seeing more of the Bible, you know, and we get to see something from the Old Testament, and it ties in to the end of the episode, which is not only like really good storytelling for doing a show, but also really good like backstory for someone who doesn't know anything about you know, maybe even you have read the story of the woman at the well in the New Testament, but you didn't know where that well came from. I think this is a cool way to show that. It doesn't require you to like do some research or like search through the Bible to figure out how it relates. So it just kind of ties those together really well. And I thought that was really cool. I just like this kind of opening where we get to see some new characters and other parts of the Bible, especially Old Testament stuff. So that was really cool. And I liked what they did with it. Not only was it to introduce the idea of this well and its meaning later in the episode, but also there's some dialogue that kind of is an overarching theme of the entire show. You know, this guy comes up who's kind of a native to the land, and he's telling Jacob, like, you're not going to get any water here, and they're talking about his God, and he's kind of asking him, you know, he's skeptical about it. He's asking him about, like, why would you choose this God that you can't see? You know, he's invisible, and he only shows up every couple hundred years to do something. Like, why would you choose him? And he has this really cool line, no, I didn't choose him. He chose us. And that's just the theme of The Chosen, right? That's what The Chosen means. It's not about a God we choose. It's about a God that chose us. We are The Chosen. And I thought that was really cool, the way they tied that in, because it's significant to not only the episode itself, but to the entire season and the show. So I really enjoyed that dialogue that they have in the beginning there. And it's also kind of speaks to the types of interactions we have with non-believers nowadays. At least those who are willing to have discussions on it, they're usually very questioning and bringing up stuff like this, like, why would you follow this God that you follow? What do you get from it? Why does he do the things he does? So it was relatable, you know? So Yeah, I really like the beginning of that. Another thing I really enjoyed about this episode, I think it's been a little while since I've watched an episode of The Chosen. We're in like season 2 now, and so the episodes are coming out like very staggered from each other. So it's not like when I was watching season 1 and I would just watch them all one in a row and just enjoy the full season. And I haven't rewatched season 1 episode until this review. So it was kind of cool getting back into the show and kind of refreshes my perspective on it. Because I know that they've thrown in some jokes and some humor into the show. But watching this one, I really saw that aspect of it and really appreciated it. Because there's an element of relatability when people are joking and making light of things, that it's not always super serious, and that Jesus was a person that came to relate with the people he interacted with, not just be a teacher and guide and a God figure. He came to be a person, and part of that is humor and comedy and just joking. That's a very relatable human quality, and that's a fun thing to watch in the show. Like, one thing I really love about it is that the blind woman, and I forgot her name, but the blind woman in the show, there's always jokes about her being blind. And they just make light of it, when I feel like in this day and age, we wouldn't do that. It would be like a disrespectful thing, or it's just like, it's so hard to make a joke nowadays sometimes. And it's not even that they're joking about her. She makes the joke herself. And, we can see her gratitude to just be in the presence of Jesus, that she's not worried about. She's been blind her whole life. That's her life. She's not like bitter about it, or mad that Jesus hasn't healed her of it. She's making light of it, and she is just enjoying and glad for her time with Jesus and with these people in her life that she's been given. And I think that's awesome. And not just that, but there's a bunch of jokes and humor thrown out through this episode and the entire season. It's just good to see that aspect of that aspect of relatability and humanity that the creators of the show have introduced into it to help us, just enjoy it and relate with it. So we have a couple different story threads going on here. Obviously, the capstone or finale of this episode is the woman at the well, but we also have the story of Matthew. He's obviously the one hosting the party, or the get together they're having in the beginning of the episode, and kind of what he's dealing with, and his relationship with Gaius, and the impacts he has with the Romans because of his decision. And then we get to see the story of Simon in Eden, and how that's where they're going to go from there. We see the impact on Eden, and of course Rima, who gets healed in this by Jesus. And then we see kind of the conclusion of Nicodemus's storyline and decision. And hopefully we get to see more of him, of course, though I don't think it's a conclusion, but a season 1 story conclusion for him. So I'll kind of follow those threads, just recap them and talk about them. But with Matthew and Gaius, I really liked that they showed, because we don't see a ton of their interaction, but throughout the first season we get to see, kind of their banter. And you kind of get this feeling that Gaius doesn't really care too much for Matthew, but you also see that they have a relationship. There is a respect that they have for each other, despite not completely liking each other, and that really manifests in this episode when we see Gaius show up, and he's trying to talk Matthew out of going with Jesus, but I think it's from a place of he's not really not wanting him to be with Jesus just to be with Jesus. He's not wanting to go because he knows that this has started something, and that if Jesus is going to get in trouble, then Matthew will also get in trouble. If Jesus is stirring up the Jews and the Romans, that's going to cause trouble for Matthew. And this is important because he cares about Matthew. Despite everything that they've said to each other and, kind of their disposition towards each other, they are friends. They have built a weird friendship. And in a way, at this point at least, Gaius is Matthew's only friend, because at least Gaius respects him and, admires things about him. And there's even the line Gaius has when he's talking to Matthew's parents, that he knows some people that admire him. Obviously, he's talking about himself. He just doesn't want to admit it out loud. But you can see that Gaius has come to respect and admire Matthew in a way, both for his courage and for his insight and his, just who he is as a person. And none of the disciples really like respect Matthew or care much for him, to be honest. They all just look down at him because he's a tax collector. Even though Jesus has called him, we still see those biases against him, and they're very much holding on to who Matthew was in the past. And Gaius knows the past Matthew and likes him, even though that's what he is, because he doesn't have that Jewish heritage that creates that boundary. And we're going to see that friction continue in the future seasons. But I think it's just cool to show that there is a friendship there, and Gaius is sad that he's leaving. And I really liked that he went to his parents and did these things for, like, gave them the money and the dog to help protect them and all this stuff on request of Matthew. And you see that he's sad. He's sad that Matthew's gone. Like, he doesn't want him to leave. He enjoyed that partnership, that friendship. So that's cool. I'm excited to see what they do with that in the future. I'm sure we're going to see more of Gaius. And then we also see Gaius going to talk to Quintus. And, Quintus is not happy about Matthew leaving. And he's starting to kind of despise this Jesus character. And we also kind of get some backstory on, this storyline we had with Matthew where he was telling him, he was talking about his rival and what he could do to impress him, and he showed him like these plans, and he brings up like, yeah, I showed him these plans and it was really great. Like, Matthew's advice was really good, but that fiasco that went down with the big crowd actually slowed this guy down, and like I got it talking down to, and I didn't appreciate that. So he's not very happy, and now that Matthew has gone to join the guy that caused that problem in the first place, he's even less happy, and that's probably going to play a big impact in the coming seasons as we see kind of the adversary in Quintus against Jesus and his disciples. But I really love the character of Quintus because he does a good job of being the villain kind of the story, but also being someone that you like to watch. Like, you're interested in him and like how he thinks, and you don't see him just as a pure villain. It's kind of like that's his hubris as a Roman. And I'm curious what they're going to do with his character. Maybe he is just going to be straight up villain. Maybe there'll be some redemption for him. Maybe there'll be some kind of arc for him where he comes to faith. I don't know. That would be awesome, but we'll see. And then the other major plot of this episode is Simon and Eden, and Eden's Ema, and she's sick, and Jesus obviously goes there to heal her. But the thing I liked the most about this scene is Jesus's acknowledgement of her struggles, because she obviously is very happy for Simon. She, this is what she called him out on in episode 4 of not trusting and following God, and he's finally doing that. So she, she's excited that he's finally doing this, and she wants him to go with him and do whatever he's called to do. But it's a huge impact on her because her husband's gone. Her husband's leaving. He's not there to support her or to help with her Ema. Or any of these things, and Jesus is just going there and acknowledging like, hey, my mission is important. I need Simon, and you even saw this before I did. You saw something in Simon. You saw what I saw in Simon before, when nobody else did. And I acknowledge that, I'm taking him away from you, and it is important that there's work to be done, but I'm acknowledging how hard this is going to be for you, and I'm going to do what I can to help you. And then he heals her Ema. Like, there's an impact to that, and that's what I love so much about the show too. Is just like them showing the impact of Jesus's ministry and miracles. It was just really touching and cool scene to see him acknowledging what she has to go through, and that he does see her, and that he does care about her. That it's not just about Simon, which is cool. So I like that the most. And then also liked, when the Ema is healed, she just gets up, like she just woke up from a nap, and she's just like, who is this? Who is this? And she's like, oh, this is my friend Jesus. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna go make food. And it's just like, that's how the miracles of Jesus work. It's just like they were one way, and now they're completely different, just like my shirt. And she just, like, nothing happened, and just shows the power of God, the power of Jesus. And that I also like how they change up the miracles every time. Like, the way he healed her and the way she responded to the healing is so different than the other instances of miracles that he did before. And that also shows that, like, Jesus is God. He has the authority and power to forgive sin and to heal in any way that he wants. He's not restricted by saying some magic word or some specific hand gesture that does it. He can do it in any way he wants. And I think that's very impactful, and to see that and to see the different ways he does it. And that's also represented in the Bible. It's representative of the source material, which is always good. Yeah, and then we have the story of Nicodemus. This was really heartbreaking to watch, because we followed Nicodemus all the way up here. We got to episode 7, where he, finally talks to Jesus, and he realizes he's the Messiah. And we see that he believes that. It's not like a false admission or anything like that. He knows. He's come to the realization of who Jesus is, and he knows what the right decision is. And he's battling against, I have all this wealth and respect and a wife that wants to go back to the life we had and loves where we're at now, and I had to leave all that behind. And I think this is so relatable, especially to us who live in like the U.S. and first world countries. We have it made. And leaving that behind, even part of it, to follow by faith something, like leaving that behind for something that we have to have faith that we're going to receive in the future, that's hard. And I think anyone who says that that's not hard is not really a true follower of Christ. There's no way you can follow Christ and say it was an easy decision, because you have to deny yourself, and that's the whole point. And I think that that's a critical thing to show, and I'm glad that they showed that in this, that that's not an easy decision to make. And Nicodemus is in a spot that maybe a lot of us aren't in. Maybe a lot of us don't have a lot of respect or don't have a lot of wealth, but we can see from our lives that we have a lot of things that make us comfortable, or a lot of things that we want to do, and we have to deny those things to follow Jesus, and it's not easy. And we're going to see, in this episode, that Nicodemus makes the wrong choice. He decides not to follow Jesus. And so I don't know how that's going to play out and what they're going to do with his character, but I like that they include this, because it shows, for one, it's not easy for anybody, especially someone who has everything that he has. And two, we don't always make the right decisions, but that doesn't mean it's the end. It's heartbreaking to see, but I think we're going to see more of Nicodemus for sure. And I think we're going to see some redemption for him. Maybe it won't come until later when Jesus is crucified, but there's an impact, and he's come to the realization he just needs to accept his truth and not be scared of it, because we can see he's still hesitant to let people know. Like when you come to faith, you want to tell everybody. You're like, yeah, I'm excited. But, he has his wife who wants to go back to their life, and he hasn't told her, like, what happened, obviously, because he's kind of, we know the truth behind what he's telling her, but he hasn't admitted to her what he believes and what he's encountered. So that was really sad. It was really well done. I loved it. I think Nicodemus is one of my favorite parts of the show so far, just following his story. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do with him in the future. But yeah, it was sad to see that he couldn't follow through with it. And he does leave them some gold, which is nice. But you can see just kind of the sadness and disappointment Jesus has that, he was so close to following them. And that would have been really cool to see him, follow as a disciple of Christ. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with that in the future. Yeah, and then the final concluding thing. So in a past video, me and David did a ranking video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's fun. And we just rank the chosen episodes for season 1 in order from least favorite to most favorite. And so in that video, I ranked this as the lowest one. And I think the main reason I ranked it the lowest one is because of my preconceived notions or expectations of this specific part of the episode. And when I went back and rewatched this episode, I realized, like, it's not a small part. This is a very big, impactful part of the episode. And we kind of see the story of the woman throughout it, her talking to her husband and wanting a divorce because she's with another guy, and that's going to play into their conversation later. Like, we see these plot points throughout the rest of the story, and then the big conclusion at the end. So it is a significant part of the episode, but there is a lot of other stuff that happens in this episode that is not that. And I think when I did my ranking of it, it was mostly based on this. And Dallas has talked about this, like, don't go into episodes with any expectations, just watch it for what it is. And I think it's really hard to do that, and I make the mistake of having like ideas of what I want out of it. But I think that's the really cool thing about rewatching these, is that you always get something new each time you rewatch them. And rewatching this, I think that I definitely appreciated the episode more for all the other story beats that were really good. Like, there's a lot of really good stuff in this episode. And the woman at the well is a very good scene. I really love the dialogue, and it's very powerful to see this woman realize that Jesus has come for everybody. You know, she's hearing the gospel and finding, like, the fact that Jesus is telling her as the first person that he's the Messiah is so powerful. Like, imagine being told that you are the first person to be told by the Messiah that you're meeting the Messiah, that you're there, and that he's come for you, and that he specifically came to that well to meet you. Like, wow, that is crazy and amazing, and I love the way they did this scene. But it just wasn't exactly what I expected, and I think that's the only reason I ranked it so low. Now, I don't know if I'd move it up that much higher or not, but my point is that it's a good episode overall, and there was a lot of stuff I really enjoyed about this episode, and I think rewatching these episodes is worth it. So if you haven't gone back and checked out the episodes, like if you're on season 2 now and you're really waiting for episode 6 to release, then go back and watch these episodes. They're really good, and I think they're worth the second watch. I think you'll find something, I feel like you find something new in them each time that you rewatch them, or at least the second time. There's things you can appreciate, and story beats that the creators add in just make the world feel more personable and relatable, and like you're part of it. And like, I don't know, just the visuals and the dialogue are so good, and I think they did a really good job wrapping this up in a satisfying way for season 1 and getting us excited for season 2. So yeah, I don't have much to say about this scene other than that. Like, it was really good. It was a good conclusion to it. I will say that the one part that I was waiting to happen, and that was great the way they delivered it, is when Jesus says, they say they brought food back, and he says, "I have food you know not of." And they're like, "What? Where's the food? Where'd you get food?" I think that's so funny, and I think that's such a good, obviously that's in the Bible, but I think that's such a good translation onto the screen of that scene, and is exactly what I expected. So that part I really liked. And it's, again, that aspect of humor. You know, you can read that in the Bible and just read it as it is, or you can read it as what two humans interacting would, it would be comedic for him to say that. Just like, come on, Jesus, we're talking about physical food. So anyways, yeah, I like this episode. I think it was a great conclusion to season 1. I really enjoyed reviewing these and going over them. I'm looking forward to season 2. We're pretty far into season 2 now. Episode 6 should be coming out soon, which means there's only 2 episodes after that left. So I need to catch up, but I'm going to do them, and I'm going to get through them, and hopefully if you watch this, it makes you want to go rewatch the episodes maybe one more time if you haven't, if you've only seen them one time. I think it's definitely worth a rewatch. So thank you again for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Whoa, hey, before you leave, I need you to do something for me. I need you to like this video. I need you to subscribe to the channel. I need you to go over there, turn on that notification bell so you know when more videos like this come out, and so you know when more Chosen-related content comes out. And I need you to comment below and interact with us. We like talking with you, so talk with us. See y'all later. Bye.